Hello and welcome all, and thank you very much for joining. Our trust this session will be as fruitful for all of the attendees as it will be for me. So I hope you're ready to learn about CRS, Vicarius, and more specifically Topia. Topia is a cloud-based cybersecurity vulnerability management suite. It allows you and your team to combat vulnerabilities and the overwhelming and always changing threats of today and, well, the future as well. With Topia, your security teams get smart prioritization and safe remediation with or without security patches. Your team can anticipate security breaches with this powerful vulnerability management toolset. If you do not believe me yet, I believe that you will feel the same way when we get underway in a few minutes. So by way of introduction to our speakers today, first off, I'm Dylan Null. I'll be your MC for the day. Should you have any questions that you would like to ask anonymously, I'll be the one that you can poke. Otherwise, feel free to raise your hand or simply leave your comments and questions in the chat box. In the gold corner, we have Tristan Govender, who will be deep diving into Topia and the workings thereof. He will also be completing the demo. Mr. Govender hails from Johannesburg, South Africa, and holds a wealth of experience in cybersecurity. He is our head SE at CRS and will definitely show you as much of the awesome parts of any technology as anyone could. If there's ever anything you'd like to learn or need to learn, this is definitely the guy you'd want to reach out to. Next up in the purple-blue corner, we have Roy Cohen. Mr. Cohen joined us all the way from Israel and has a very strong background in cybersecurity. He led pre-sales and research for a company who were acquired by CyberArk and then went on to lead the endpoint research team for CyberArk as well. Roy is the current CRO and one of the co-founders of Vicarius. He'll be giving us a little history of the solution as well as an overview of the team at Vicarius, and then furthermore a roadmap of what the future holds. Before I hand over though, let me give you a quick rundown for those of you who might not know who we are. What we are here for, and what Team CRS can accomplish for you and your cybersecurity requirements. Team CRS is an authorized IBM training center and a cybersecurity distributor. We also have our own in-house built by CRS cyber awareness training. Our head office is based in Centurion. However, we have training centers across South Africa. We have completed training across the globe from as few as 1 delegate in a class to as many as 150 delegates all in one classroom. So should you have any requirements, please reach out. Our cybersecurity range of solutions consists of Beachhead, which is a proven cloud platform to enforce encryption and access control on employee-used devices, email encryption, USB encryption, all of this and more that covers all things mobile from laptops, cell phones, servers, and more. Topia, which we will deep dive into shortly, and this is the reason we have gathered here virtually today. We also have EC Counselor Aware, which is a phishing simulation tool that will safeguard your workforce from phishing attacks by showing them how to identify even the most complex phishing scams out there. This, by the way, also comes with various short and long training courses, all based online, as well as gamification, integration into Outlook and G Suite, as well as your LMS, unlimited simulations, and, well, so much more that I can actually go on and on about. We also have our own in-house built cyber awareness training, as I mentioned, which is combined with EC Counselor Aware, and this together makes our Cyber Risk Essentials powered by CRS. Please reach out for more information on this. A Reactor is an MDR, EDR, and soon to be XDR solution that consists of next-gen endpoint threat detection. It's a system powered by AI and will pretty much safeguard you from all kinds of ransomware and other malicious software. We then also do your penetration testing and the like. Moving on to Topia. So Topia is a cloud-based cybersecurity vulnerability management suite that empowers you and your team to combat vulnerabilities and the overwhelming, ever-evolving threats of today. With Topia, your security teams get smart prioritization and safe remediation with or without your security patches. So very importantly, you can pretty much anticipate security breaches with Topia's power with the power of Topia and the powerful vulnerability management tools that it holds. So very fun stuff. As Tristan Governor will show you shortly, Topia is a very well-rounded tool that assists you in managing your vulnerabilities. The solution analyzes using asset and application real-time threat analysis and auto recognition for applications and operating systems, and then prioritizes using an auto prioritization engine, which will determine your risk analysis. From there, X tags, which you will learn about shortly, are produced to allow admins and analysts to investigate risk groupings of endpoints. Prioritization also allows mitigation of zero-day attacks through analysis of threats and prioritization of such threats. And then finally, there is the ability to act on threats by making use of the AutoAction engines, real-time security patch management, patch list management, and a database of recommended treatments to CVEs as they come to light. So as you can hear, very exciting stuff. I cannot wait to hear what Mr. Cohen has in store for us. Roy, over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Let me briefly share a little bit about the history of the company. So let me share the screen here. Okay, just confirm it is visible. Dylan,
Yes, we can see it.
Okay,
yes,
thank you so much. So, hey again, everyone. My name is Roy Cohen. I'm the CRO of the company, and we are Vicarius, basically the developer of Topia, which is the world's first autonomous vulnerability remediation platform built out of the notion of handling vulnerabilities. It's such a complex task today for companies, and having a single stop shop where you get all of the vulnerabilities hassled, delivered and taken care of, it's something that this is basically our vision. Briefly about the team. So we are 3 co-founders with a background of cybersecurity. First of all, let me introduce my other 2 co-founders. The first one is Michael Asraf. He is the CEO of the company and my partner for the past 12 years, not in Vicarius, but also before. Mr. Asraf got a rich background of development and working in startups, one of which was called Secure Islands. Secure Islands were a cybersecurity company dealing with DLP, and they got acquired by Microsoft. Today, Mr. Asraf is leading the company from the US, where we got soon to learn an office. The next up is Yossi Ze'evi. Yossi is the CTO of the company. His background was in another cybersecurity company called Cybertinel, dealing with endpoint protection. In this company, Yossi Ze'evi was the first employee. Later on, the company grew big and got acquired by a different cybersecurity company called CyberArk. Then, after the acquisition by CyberArk, Yossi was developing what today is CyberArk's most selling product. It's a product called EPM. So Yossi is super talented, and he leads all of the R&D efforts in the company. As for myself, Roy Cohen, my background starts from doing some military service and security activities in the past. I've been awarded for excellency by the President of Israel for my duty. Afterwards, I was dealing with various cybersecurity positions, some of them including penetration testing, exploit hunting and development, vulnerability hunting and development. And in my last position, I led CyberArk's malware research team. Also, we are joined by Orna Mintzlov. She was also a former owner of a cybersecurity company, actually a couple of them, which later on both of them got acquired. The company is well funded. We have, as of today, raised $30 million in capital from some of the world's top venture capitals dealing with cybersecurity, which is a very good signal to our mission. We have very strong belief, very strong investors backing us up. I can mention a few: Allegis Cyber, JVP, SVB, it's the biggest bank in California, Silicon Valley Bank, and Alicorp, among others. Also not listed, we have E.ON, which is the biggest energy company in the world, and others that are also backing us up. The company today is 35 employees. Of course, the vast majority are engineers, and it's rapidly growing. So that's just a little bit about the team. As for the company, so we are a fairly established startup. We have been established in 2016, so we have our track record. We have dual offices in Tel Aviv as well as in New York. We are operating, which means that we have active customers in more than 30 countries, where we are protecting well over 1 million assets in total, even more. This presentation may be a little less updated. We have well over 150 active customers, and we are growing by the day. Lastly, we have lots of partners. CRS are one of our better and trained, experienced partner in the region and also globally. A little bit about the companies that we work with. So you can really see rich and very diverse type of companies who are using Topia. And the reason is that first, the value that we bring into the process is appealing to so many companies in different sectors. You can see finance and technology, public sector, industry and infrastructure, service providers. There is a very growing demand to manage the vulnerability, the vulnerability management process end to end in a new way, in an easy way. I can mention a few companies such as SolarEdge, one of the producers of I think the biggest producer of solar panels in the world. Appsfly, one of the bigger advertisers in the world. I think a local company is the South African breweries, who are actively using and benefiting from the value of the product. But these are just the logos we can share. Some of them, obviously, we cannot share. So you can find banks, you can find insurers, you can find governments, like we got the government of Germany, the German government, or the National Healthcare Services in the UK. So it's really diverse, and a lot of also additional service providers. So this is briefly about the team, about the company, and about the customers who are benefiting from our product. Over to you guys.
So fantastic, yeah. So like Roy was saying, Topia and Vicarius have an extensive history and quite a robust background, especially in the technologies industries. So definitely one to get in with. So I'm just going to be taking you through a couple of the technical features and some of the standouts on the features, and then show you alongside the dashboard. So just kicking it off, we have to understand that minimizing risk is just as important as taking on solutions to be proactive in protection. And that's exactly why we choose a solution like Topia. So Topia allows you to Topia keeps you safe through operating system and third-party application patches. Okay, it offers a cloud-first, cloud-ready remediation for all endpoints and operating systems in a work-from-home environment, which negates the need for an on-premises patch management solution. The solution offers a simplified approach to security breach detection and remediation, which I'll get to shortly. And even when there's no patch, you can stay protected through virtual patching through Topia until a vendor patch is available. And again, I'll get to this shortly. Further than this, Topia also maps out all of the possible vulnerabilities through CVEs, and this is your common exploits and vulnerabilities, or common vulnerabilities and exploits that are happening in real time. These are public CVE disclosures that will build your awareness and the common exploits and vulnerabilities that grow daily. So with that being said, relying entirely on a public CVE disclosure leaves your organization vulnerable to opening those facts of zero-day attacks and etc. Okay, apologies, just let me move this out the way. So in those cases, Topia does does zero-day analysis through comparing binary pieces to existing threat categories. Okay, so Topia identifies potential software vulnerabilities that can be put through your applications at risk of being exploited. And this is done through Topia's zero-day analysis, which uses a proactive approach at continuously analyzing, predicting, and identifying binary level threats. This allows you to stay ahead of all those CVEs and zero-day attacks. So just delving further into it, Topia also allows you to consolidate your vulnerability assessment, prioritization, and remediation under one solution. And as Dylan covered, the solution brings all of these aspects together to provide you with a robust solution to consolidate your software vulnerability assessments with one solution, with one single Topia agent. Okay, so you would let Topia do most of the work so you can focus on remediating the real threats that matter most. Okay, so you don't want to be caught out with all of those small pesky vulnerabilities. You want to focus on those alerts and let your security teams focus on the alerts that would damage the organization. Okay, so Topia is definitely giving you that flexibility. And this also allows you to increase the cross collaboration between the IT and security teams. So with Topia, you also get a host of telemetry data from assets to accurately track inventory through the solution. And through the use of Topia, you also get prioritization of software vulnerabilities using common vulnerability scoring systems and AI-based contextual usage risk scoring engines. Okay. However, we know that threat analysis and prioritization isn't a one size fits all. We know that every organization is different. We know that every organization has different scores for different vulnerabilities and etc. So CVSS scores don't consider your organization's unique infrastructure. So contextual factors play a large role in overall threat of a vulnerability and other risk management solutions. Okay, that's exactly why Topia gives X tags, which gives you a real-time contextual-based report that highlights the real threat so your IT and InfoSec teams can confidently prioritize risk remediation. This helps you to know the real threats with Topia's X tags, and I'll cover this shortly in a demo to show you exactly what I mean. Okay. As a solution, a large part of it is, of course, going to be the patch management capabilities. So Topia fully supports Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. The solution allows you to patch vulnerabilities and deploy operating system and software updates automatically and remotely with an all-in-one lightweight agent that'll cover all your vulnerability management needs. Okay, so the solution is very intuitive to use, and your security and IT teams will be able to work together to get more updates deployed faster. Coming with the patch management, we also look at patchless management, which is developed by Topia as a security measure for when patches from vendors are not available. Patchless management uses in-memory protection by deploying a virtual force field around vulnerable applications so that your organization is able to eliminate threats before they impact your organization. Okay, so this is a form of proactive protections that all organizations would need knowing that vendors do not always patch vulnerabilities immediately. So in that time that between a available patch and between the vulnerability, Topia is able to protect you. Tying into all of the above, Topia also brings into AutoActions. AutoActions are essentially there to ensure that when your resources need the time off, the solution does not. By using AutoActions, it allows you to empower your IT and security teams to respond and mitigate threats automatically. This also allows you to update the individual or group of assets automatically within a time period that suits your organization. Okay, so all those guys that are working full time to ensure that everything is protected, they would just be able to put in auto actions, and it makes the analyst's life a breeze and makes the operator's life a breeze. So you can deploy these updates based on severity or by availability, and you can even set custom scripts to run anytime in response to triggering factors. And with that, I'm going to take you through all the key factors of the solution on the console to show you the solution and the intuitive interface that you would be using to manage your organizational infrastructure. So I'd like to take you through the stunning dashboard to showcase a few core capabilities of Topia and how it may assist you in your organization. So the home page is essentially telemetry necessary to view all vulnerabilities and assets in one console. It's intuitive and the functionality behind it is very robust. So on the left, you would be able to see how many apps are installed on all the assets. It shows you the number of assets that you have, as well as the different types of operating systems. Okay. But on the right, you have an app's risk map, and this is very important part of the dashboard. It shows you at a high level all of your risk in 3 easy bubbles as high, medium, and low level threats. These are CVEs, otherwise known as the common vulnerabilities and exploits. These are collated from public databases of known CVEs. However, Topia also does persistent monitoring to discover threats to applications, even if they are unknown. And that's through that 0-day protection, as I mentioned. Okay, this allows you to make the most of your protection through patch and patchless management. Like I said, we'll get through to the patchless management shortly, but you would be able to essentially put that force field around your applications and ensure that you are protected. Okay, on this home dashboard, we can also see that what Vicarius has deemed X tags, and that's on the top. And these X tags give you a real-time contextual-based report that highlights the real threats so that your IT and InfoSec teams can confidently prioritize risk remediation. Each X tag defines a contextual execution property of an application on an asset, and it helps you to prioritize threats using a context-based property like prioritization parameters, access authority, and activity status in order to determine the risk level of every application and asset in your organization. So you would be able to choose any one of these. For example, if we wanted to look at the attack surface, you would be able to see what type of risks of the X tags you would have for that type of X tag. Okay. That's not to worry because Topia allows you to also perform, from here you would also be able to see the CVE trends, available updates and patches, and the number of CVE threats and 0-day attacks that can possibly stem from the solutions. So if we wanted to look at 0 days and CVE threats, we would look down here and you would be able to filter down to them, and you would be able to even set up auto actions alongside the manual management of patches to protect you here. Okay, so looking into the patch management, we understand that patch management fixes vulnerabilities on your software and the applications that are susceptible to cyber attacks. It helps your organization to reduce the security risk. So Topia patch management fully supports Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, as I mentioned, and the patch management and deployment of the OS patches, as I mentioned, can be done automatically and remotely. Topia is an all-in-one lightweight agent that covers all of your vulnerability needs. Okay, with the flexibility and ease of use tools that you would be able to manage from an intuitive interface, your IT and security teams are able to get more updates deployed faster. Okay, Topia also gives you a real-time tally of all the endpoints and the applications across your organization's digital infrastructure and report which assets and applications pose the highest risk to your organizations. This helps you to avoid costly downtime and heavy traffic by keeping your servers and virtual machines up to date. And Topia's lightweight patch management system is here to assist you with that. So for example, if we needed to look at the patches available for specific applications, you can see that we have a high risk one. We'd be able to jump in and quickly push update, and we'd be able to set the parameters for that. Choose the endpoint that you want. You'll be able to do an auto reboot, allowing the user to cancel if you require. You can set a patch window, the duration time, time zones, your date schedule. So if you need it done in a specific date period, you would be able to do that. And then you would simply be able to push that through. Okay, so very neat, very handy to have that in place. Okay, it shows you your activity log as well when the patches were put through. And it's very intuitive to use. Okay, when we look at patchless management, we look at the applications. Okay, and the patchless management is to assist you to keep your high risk and vulnerable applications secure. So even when a patch has not been deployed or has not been developed yet, patchless management is here to help you. If flaws are published before a vendor can fix them, attackers might be able to break into your systems, and that's something that you would really want to avoid. So with Topia's patchless management, vulnerable applications are shielded within a force field and secured until the next patch has been prepared, tested, and deployed. So sometimes a patch doesn't exist for a known vulnerability because there isn't one available yet. So this is exactly why Topia offers a way to stay secure and protected until a patch is published, so you can breathe easy. The time between a vulnerability disclosure and the patches is uncertain at the very least. A vulnerability can be exploited long before a patch is available. This lapse in security is a critical risk that can lead to a loss of money, it can lead to a loss of time, reliability, and getting back to a business as usual. And it can stop you from getting back to that business as usual environment. So any organization that's been through a few patch cycles won't immediately deploy a patch. It might not work. It might lead to downtime and other problems, and it might render essential software and assets unusable. So this is why Topia allows you to protect your organization when a new patch hasn't been tested, and that's exactly where the patchless management comes in. So you'd be able to choose between whether you want an application to be analyzed, whether you want it to be monitored or protected. Okay, at an analyzed level, it'll analyze for software vulnerabilities. At a monitored level, it'll continue to actively monitor the software and will report on detected exploit attempts. And protected, it'll proactively block in and report on any exploit attempts for that application. So how does it work? The patchless protection is a multi-layered security measure which secures the executable of a vulnerable software and related binaries. This is achieved by securing the memory space of a vulnerable function in memory, and the in-memory form of protection uses dynamic binary instrument technology that tracks the vulnerable functions upon the loading of an application into the memory space of an asset. Okay, so the code of the patchless protection is then either blocked in the system or in the call in memory, or will notify the admin depending on the use case that the admin has chosen on the console. So whether you choose between monitored, protected, or analyzed. Okay. So another thing that I would like to just chat about is also the AutoActions. Okay, so Topia's AutoActions capabilities enable your IT and cybersecurity teams to automate repetitive and tedious tasks and time-consuming tasks like patch implementation, so that they can focus their expertise when it's needed. So this helps you to harden your cybersecurity posture by decreasing the chances of human error and setting up automated responses to specified triggers. This also allows you to reduce human error and intervention with powerful, dynamic, and scalable patching capabilities. It allows you to empower IT teams to protect and defend from known and unknown vulnerabilities with advanced asset targeting. Okay. It's very simple and intuitive. It allows you to create a new action or auto action for apps or operating system, and you can even run a custom script through auto actions. So if we wanted to look at that, we can run a custom script, operating system updates, or app updates. Okay, you can choose then whether you want it to be based on severity or whether you want it to be based on availability. So let's go by Windows 10. We choose whether we want to by severity or by availability. Okay, then we can then choose the severity levels. If we go by severity, okay, we can choose to reboot, and we can also choose to auto reboot and allow user to cancel. We can choose our targets, and you can set up groupings, and you can set up a multi-tenancy platform on Topia as well. And you can select your assets that you would want or the group selection, and then you would be able to set your date range and your patch window. Okay. So as mentioned, you're also able to run these scripts for the endpoints, custom scripts. So let's take a look at that. Okay, and you can see that you have some public scripts available to you. You can do your custom scripting, you can do deployments of applications and etc. through the use of Topia. Okay, you can also select script that you want, select targets, time period that you want to deploy the patches, and etc. And I'm hoping that that does interest you quite a lot, and I'm hoping that there's a couple of questions for me. Please feel free to post some of your questions in the chat box or even the Q&A section. Really looking to answer some of your questions.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So Tristan, we do actually have a couple of questions on the line already, if you would like to go ahead. But guys, please feel free to keep them coming in. We'd like to answer as many as possible. Anything else, Tristan?
Yeah, fantastic. So I see that we have one here, what is in the pipeline for 2022? And I think I'll hand that one over to Roy Cohen, but just to jump to the section, we have network scans in beta, and I think I'll hand this over to Roy, who will be able to answer more on this one.
Yeah, thank you, Tristan. Let me get back to the screen share and of course also present some of the new capability. So first of all, in terms of share again. So first of all, in terms of the capabilities that that we are in progress. Of course, this is a roadmap for the entire 2022, and Q1 has since ended. As you can see, we have the network scanner. So now we have new capabilities that allow us to analyze devices which are not necessarily are deployable. So we can scan the network using the platform, and of course give you greater visibility and greater traction of vulnerabilities across the entire estate. Before I will showcase, of course, the features that have been developed, let me just briefly go through the additional features that are going to be added. We are now also adding additional triggers to the automation capabilities. So this is also something that we are playing for this quarter. We are going to do some kind of a redesign for the dashboard. There was some requests from various customers globally, so we are trying to be as attentive as we can for various requests. Additional capabilities for reporting, and also we start to introduce what you call some compliance or configuration checks. The main one we are now will be adding is CIS hardening and configuration visibility and also enforcement. Obviously, this is a big feature, so you can see it's spread over 3 quarters. But then with the value of that capability would be visibility and governance of misconfiguration and misalignment with industry standards, and then you'll be able to see and enforce configurations on these assets, on these devices. In addition, we took the network scanner and we split because there are various steps we would like to embed. I will show you the first step as it's already available, and also the next step we'll discuss. And also additional capabilities. We would like to enhance and introduce additional ways to protect applications against exploits without patching. So there will be some enhancements we'll be adding, and additional alerting dashboard, like critical alerts that will be even more highlighted in the platform. So this is, of course, kind of the main features, and things are always added in between. So that doesn't necessarily mean these are the only features that are gonna be developed. As for sharing, again, the new features that have been added, the main one is the network scan. This allows you to essentially analyze devices over your network. So we got here some scan that we have done. Maybe I can find one with a bit more data. Okay, so this is a scan which has been done on a given network. You can see how many devices were scanned. And it gives you like a very pivoted kind of way of looking on things. For example, which were the assets that were scanned, which ports were found, and what services they are hosting. It could be various, which services were found across the estate, open, which applications we detected. And also based on that, we can also detect the vulnerabilities that are there. So that screen, again, it's fairly new. We have our own, we have partnered with the project of Nmap. We work with them. And we also have our own NSEs and scripts that evaluate for vulnerabilities. We basically support the open source community. And then we are adding additional capabilities to this feature. The next enhancement that it's going to be is that we'll be aggregating some values into the main dashboard. It's going to be also propagated here. And the last feature we'll be introducing is to do the entire scan from the dashboard without you needing to, you can see you can import the output of the scan So no need to do it what we would call semi-manually. You will do it directly from the platform. You would choose a computer that you would like to act as a scanner, and then it will automatically scan and give you the results here. So essentially, we are also innovating in the way that vulnerability scanners are working, because we are saving you the time and the effort required to deploy sensors. We are utilizing the existing agents that we have to act as mini scanners, and you already have them deployed. So they will use for all of the value that Tristan, of course, presented before. And on top of that, they will allow you to scan networks smoothly from across your entire estate. So as said, this is the feature that have been added. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
And we do actually have a couple of more questions. Can Topia be deployed on premise? Tristan, I think you could take that one.
Yeah.
100%.
Go, Tristan.
Okay, perfect. So the default architecture is a native cloud-based, which can provide us with many advantages and flexibility to provide real-time visibility, contextual prioritization, and built-in patching. However, we do allow customers who require an on-premises option to install a proxy server within their environment to route all communication and patching via a server. We know that there are some requirements who would rather their data be secured, on premises and etc. So there are options for that type of setup.
Okay, excellent. How is the solution priced? I'll take this one. The solution is actually very well priced compared to industry peers, and while the solution can also do quite a lot more than many of the industry peers, so I'll share pricing with you as required. Also, anyone else looking for pricing, please reach out. And that goes for demos as well, guys. Should you require us to stand in front of your team or your customer, please shout. This is exactly what we love to do. How does the solution cater to organizations who have adopted a work from home or air-gapped environment?
Okay, so the solution is cloud native, which means that devices do not have to be on a centralized server, such as when using an on-premises option, like other solutions. So instead of them updating the policies to be pushed to the devices, when it updates those devices through policies, and when the timing parameters are met, the actions will initiate no matter where the device is.
Okay, excellent. Roy, I'm pretty sure you can answer this one quite well. Who are the biggest competitors?
So I would say that today the market has shaped in a way that it will kind of force you to buy a vulnerability management tool. So in this category, you can find companies like Qualys, like Tenable, like Rapid7. Okay, it will force you to, assuming that you are unable, because there are so many vulnerabilities, unable to process all of the vulnerabilities, then you would buy what you would call an RBVM, risk-based vulnerability management. It's basically a product which sits on top of the existing vulnerability management tool that you have, which I mentioned before. And this will prioritize your vulnerabilities. And eventually you will buy a patch management tool like BigFix, for example, in order to handle your vulnerabilities. And for the vulnerabilities you won't be able to fix, you will look for some virtual patching technology. So we don't have a single competitor that takes care of all of the process. Usually the competition, it's a kind of an integrated solution provided by some service providers that includes licenses for all of the above, all of the ones I mentioned.
Okay, excellent, brilliant, brilliant. How does Topia work in the environment where VSUS is already deployed, or how does it integrate?
Excellent question.
So that would be Windows Server Update Services. Okay, sure.
Sure. So I'll do you want to take that one, Roy, or should I?
Yeah, I can take it. So VSUS services, obviously, it's the Microsoft tool for deploying Microsoft-related updates. Doing it okay, basically it allows you to update Microsoft products. The limitation of it, as said, it's only supporting Microsoft-related products and nothing more than that. So just a piece of information that you may find interesting, the NSA released the top 25 exploited vulnerabilities for 2021 and 2020. They showed that the top 5 exploited vulnerabilities in these years, none of them were Microsoft-related applications. So the thing is that we see many companies today that obviously they have the WSUS or even SCCM products deployed in their premise, but the problem with these products is that it's, out of the box, it only supports Microsoft products, and it doesn't really take care of, basically any other vendor or any even other operating system, which is not Windows, to that matter. So Vicarius or Topia does not integrate in any formal shape with the WSUS. We bring our own native patch management solution to your organization. Critical updates will be introduced in a matter of hours. So you get all of the operating system, Microsoft updates such as WSUS provide, but even sometimes we do it even faster. You also get all of the third-party applications updates. And we don't have any dependency or requirement of the WSUS service existent. So we are completely self-reliant.
Sure. And if you need a more detailed breakdown on paper, we're more than happy to share that document if you reach out to us after. Okay.
Cool. If my organization has multiple departments that are spread across a country or the country, would I be able to manage them in a multi-tenant structure?
Yes, the solution does have multi-tenancy, but it also has robust tagging and grouping facilities for simple and user-friendly asset management.
Is that it? Cool. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, Luna. Great presentation, all. How does Topia compare to the likes of Kenna?
Roy, I'm going to hand that one over to you.
Sure. So as said, Kenna, I think it's an excellent product dealing with prioritizing vulnerabilities. The main difference between Topia and Kenna is that first, we do not require you to have existing vulnerability management tools or even patch management tools or whatever, because Kenna is an excellent product which integrates and collects information from other products that you have in order to aggregate and give you a result. So Topia, on the contrary, is the product which both collects the information and aggregates that. And on top of that, unlike Kenna and any other products who do vulnerability prioritization, we also, and we are the first in the world to do so, we also measure the environment parameters or behavioral and the application behavioral back into the vulnerability likelihood to be exploited. What do I mean by that? For example, I can give like the most naive and simple example I can share. Imagine you have a vulnerable application. Let's say now we are speaking over WebEx. And let's say a critical vulnerability has been detected on WebEx and all of the world are talking about it. And also in your state, there is WebEx. And maybe you also have Zoom or Teams or any other video conferencing tool. And everyone in the world are talking about WebEx vulnerability. But without any additional information in your tool belt, you would probably go and try to patch all of the WebEx instances that you have. But if a crucial piece of information, for example, Topia will be able to tell you, hey, you have WebEx, that's fine, but it's not used. No one uses it. People are using, you have also Zoom, people are using that. So yes, you have a critical vulnerability. Yes, probably you would like to patch it, but the urgency is a bit different because you are now provided a piece of information that no other product provides you. And it's correlated back into the prioritization. So the beauty of Topia versus to other prioritization tools such as Scanner is that we are the only one who actually validate the likelihood of the exploit to happen in your environment. And based on that, we give you only a curated list of applications that can be actually exploited based on how your company looks like. So that's the main difference.
All right, excellent. Thanks for that, Roy. We've only got a couple more to go through, about 4 or 5 very pertinent questions though. So you mentioned there being a bridge between IT and security teams with the solution. How does it assist with that? Just nothing that was pointed at you.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so patch management we know has been a task of IT teams forever. But there's been a major disconnect between the amount of vulnerabilities that the lack of patches bring. So this is why Topia enables security tools like CVE alerts and telemetry and patchless management to allow your organization to bring the two teams together to decide the best course of action for update management and patchless protection. So it's a very robust tool to bring both of those teams together, have them collaborating, and etc. Roy, do you want to have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so as said, again, patching is obviously operations and IT task, and finding vulnerabilities and deciding which of them needs to be treated. It's a security team one. And sometimes not sometimes, many times when we approach companies and they have security and they have IT teams, we see there is sometimes kind of misalignment. Imagine you have a tool which scans the network and tells you, hey, you have so many vulnerabilities, and the security tries to prioritize them, and then eventually they give a list of action items to the IT. And the thing is that sometimes these tools are not aligned. Imagine you have a tool which scans and tells you you have a critical vulnerability in your operating system, and then the IT tries to patch it, but the patch management tool says, hey, there is no candidate patch. So first of all, the reason we are helping and empowering these teams is that they are all working with the same platform. All of them are seeing the same results, all of them seeing the same evidence, and all of them can take the actions they need under one rooftop. On top of that, we have the ability to enforce role-based access control. So we can keep the security teams dealing only with prioritizing and ranking the vulnerabilities, and the operational team to take care of things, doing the patch, doing everything. And the beauty of it is that it's real-time visibility. It means you no longer need to send Excel sheets or email saying, hey, I fixed this, this, and that. Everyone can see immediately, and maybe I can take the opportunity and also share the screen and show that. Everyone can see immediately, like in a way of, hold on.
Let me just give you rights. Perfect. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I think it's now shareable. Okay, so where I went, I just first of all went into the vulnerability management screen. You get here something which you don't see in other products. You get like an event log of all of the vulnerabilities that were found, and also you can see the ones that were mitigated. So there is a nice view that the security and IT can work together and see what was found and what was mitigated without the need to send email or call or WhatsApp messages, whatever. There is no need to do so because everyone sees the same screen. Everyone are aligned with the same results. And also, you can take the results internally and show the value. You can show, for example, to the management that the effectiveness of your work. For example, on the 10th of March, you can show the board, I fixed 2,000 vulnerabilities. So you can also show the value of your work into the top management, which sometimes it's very hard to showcase. So the fact we are working together and giving you evidence about every step is something that we see of much of a value between the teams.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Does Topia work in conjunction with Reactor or any other EDR solutions, or is it a separate solution?
Sure. So if you wouldn't mind me just taking that one. So internally here at CRS, we have both Topia and Reactor running, and they work excellently together. So they are two separate solutions. However, they do they have two separate functions. So they work very well together. We haven't had any issues. They, yeah, like I said, extremely well together.
Thanks for that, Bimbo. Much appreciated. I think we're down to one or two more questions. How do we get started on the solution?
So perfect. I'm very glad that you asked that. So I'm going to post a link down in the chat box that you'll be able to use to start a demo. So we'll reach out to you shortly after the webinar to assist you in getting started, and you'd be able to find the best way forward to utilize Topia in your organization, or even to take it to your customers if that's your requirement. Okay, so there should be a link now in the chat box. Please feel free to click it, sign up, and then we will get into contact with you as well. Okay. I do see another one here, Dylan. Is Topia a SIM tool, and does it work with Curator, Splunk, and REST? I'm actually going to give that one over to Roy.
Yeah, happy to. So Topia is not a SIM tool, but able to integrate with the SIM tools. So let me also share again. As you can see, we have the ability to do integration under the settings. So it's very easy to plug the platform into the existing SIM products that you have. Should there be Splunk, Sumo Logic, or for that matter, any other syslog integrations that you would require. We support multiple RFCs. We can definitely integrate. And should you decide that you want to take it even a step further, we have webhooks, tools like Zapier and others which you can utilize. And we have the API. So we are quite flexible in any form of shape of integrating the product into existing tools.
Okay, excellent. Thanks for that, Roy. Much appreciated. I think that is it. Tristan, do you have any more questions on your side? Perhaps private questions that might have been sent?
No, don't see any on my side, but if you guys have any questions, please feel free to send them through. Yeah, is it too early to ask for commercials? No, definitely not. I think you can message us after this. I don't know if Dylan, if you want to give anything on commercials here.
Yeah, so guys, I'll gladly speak around commercials, but seeing that we have a couple of end users as well as partners on the call, unfortunately, we cannot speak around that. But I can speak to you individually. I can guarantee that everyone's pricing would be pretty much the same, or not pretty much, it will be the same. But I need to take it offline with each and every one of you. So please reach out, guys. I will get back to you on that. And then Stephen, yes, can you share some presentations on this so that we can familiarize ourselves with how Topia works? Absolutely, Stephen. So what we can do is please reach out to us after this, or we'll get back to you. We'll give you access to the CRS partner portal, where you can access literally every bit of reading material or literature, as well as presentations that you can use yourself.
Fantastic. If you guys have any other questions, we're more than happy to assist. Please just pop them into the chat box.
I think we will be available for the next few minutes, obviously, as the session was supposed to end in 7 minutes. We have finished a bit early, but guys, feel free to pop through your questions. There will be recordings available in the coming weeks that we will share with you. To everybody that attended, again, it will also be available on our partner portal, so be on the lookout for that. Also, please, I'm sure everyone is following us on social media, but please make sure that you follow us to keep up to date with all of the new happenings. And then again, just from our side, guys, thank you very much for joining. It really is appreciated. I think the turnout was quite good. We've got quite a well-rounded audience here. I hope you guys have learned a lot. I know I have. And I hope that I've also taught you a thing or two. That being said, I think we can call it. Yes, Mr. Cohen, thank you very much for your time. Really is appreciated that you join us all the way from Israel. Perhaps next time you join us live at a live conference.
Sure do. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Or maybe I should also actually thank Mr. Govender for doing such a splendid job in the presentation as well as the demonstration. Thanks, Tristan.
Thanks, Lynn.